Hi, welcome to the Big Bold Book Club. I'm Scott Manley Hadley. This is Martin Corrigan, and we are learning to read again. This week, this episode, we'll be discussing Emily Bronte's Wuthering Heights. Martin, initial thoughts, initial feelings about Wuthering Heights?
It's a load of shite. My initial thoughts was like this was published in 1852, and I know a lot of dreary things had just happened in the world, like the famine in Ireland. But I would have much rather have been in it than been around her when she was writing this. Incredible, it was tough. It was tough to get through. It was really tough to get into, to be honest with you, because it's written in that type of Old English.
I mean, I'd say bits of it were. So, I read this at school like 20 years ago. And so it's not something I've reread as an adult, but I was tentative about doing it because I remembered it being a bit of a slog. But I found that it starts off quite wordy. It starts off quite dense. But the way that it's structured is it's got this guy called Lockwood who's telling a story that someone else has told him. But that someone else is telling a story that's about other people. Mm-hmm. And half of it that she's telling is stuff that other people have told her. So it's got this really complicated structure.
It's just a massive piece of hearsay.
Because it's gossip, isn't it?
Yeah, because we never actually hear from, spoilers, we never hear from Catherine or Heathcliff in this.
There's a little bit of Heathcliff.
There's a little bit of Heathcliff. You get a sense of the man. But it is literally like, it's a book of gossip. I think that there maybe speaks to what like society was like in the 1850s, because it was just like, oh, I'm telling this here where I'm not actually like going behind somebody's back. These people are fictional. But I mean, it was tough to get into. Lockwood was very hard for me to understand, and like I felt as though I was imagine you've got a language decoded into English, and then you were reading that English. Mm-hmm. So like imagine like Hiberno English, which is like the Irish way of speaking English. And then for an English person to hear that.
But I mean, I think the way I've felt is that that's completely intentional from Emily Bronte, right? Lockwood is this fancy pants city slicker who's slumming it up in the Yorkshire moors for a bit of a crazy time out with the provincials, and he thinks he's the pig's biscuits. You know, he thinks he's
pig's biscuits.
The pig's biscuits. Yeah, you can make up a little rural phrase. He thinks he's a big deal.
The dog's bollocks?
Yeah.
All right, okay. He thinks he's the pig's biscuit?
Thinks he's the pig's biscuit.
I like that. Well,
so he's just, blah, blah, blah. I'm City Slicker Boy. I'm Mr. Lockwood.
It struck me that, like, how do I put it? How everybody speaks shows their level of class. Mm-hmm. So, Mr. Lockwood, highborn. Mm-hmm. Heathcliff, not so much.
But Heathcliff's educated.
He's educated.
Yeah. He's made something of himself.
So,
but you don't see that. He just he's a ruffian. He disappears for a bit. He comes back.
Disappears for a bit, and in the
it's like Gatsby, right?
In the Cliff Richard adaptation of the thing, he was on a pirate ship or in the Navy.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I've only seen clips of it. It was horrible, but. But you get a sense that he's like highborn. Heathcliff is like, you know, he's brought in, he's been raised up to be this, but he's got that streak in him. Mm-hmm. Hareton, for example, and Joseph are like lowborn in the way they talk. It's very like...
Well, Hareton is the son of the previous master of
Earnshaw.
The house. Yeah. But he's
been raised by Heathcliff.
Exactly.
And it's just like, there's that influence on him. Mm-hmm. But then you see people like Joseph...
who's just bottom of the barrel kind of stuff.
He
eats pig's biscuits.
He strikes me as the guy from Hot Fuzz who has the Cornwall accent. Mm-hmm. He's like bums and that, and it's like, but that's the way. Even in the audiobook, I had to read this with the audiobook, by the way, because it was very tough. And a lot of the stuff, like out of context of somebody speaking it, was tough for me to get through.
Well, it's written weirdly It's like a mix of phonetically written and slang.
Can I give you an example?
I'd love to do that. Yeah.
So this is in the first paragraph. I remember picking this book up, saying like, "Oh, heavy one. This is a good 370 pager.
I mean, mine looks thicker than Martin's because I dropped it in some water. It is the same edition.
Yeah. Suits the rainy environment of the moors.
I wothered it, right? I wothered.
You wothered
my edition.
But all right. So this is whenever Mr. Lockwood first sees Heathcliff, and this is the language that Emily Bronte, the Dick, uses. A capital fellow. He little imagined how my heart warmed towards him when I beheld his black eyes withdraw so suspiciously under their brows as I rode up, and when his fingers sheltered themselves with a jealous resolution still further in his waistcoat as I announced my name.
But that's a joke, right? I think what I found very surprising by this book is it's funny. Like, that's Emily Bronte taking the piss out of a guy like Lockwood. So she lives in this small Yorkshire town. So I think Emily Bronte's met guys like Lockwood, steaming through on these southern losers, on their way up to go hang out at Edinburgh for a little bit or something, swinging through the Yorkshire moors.
Is that meant to be humour then?
That's how I read. I mean, I was laughing the whole way through. Maybe I wasn't meant to be. I think it was really funny. I think the way so the person that's telling the story about Cathy and Heathcliff, or Catherine and Heathcliff, depending on who's talking about her, that is Nellie Dean, who's like the servant, but she's such a busybody. Like, she is getting involved at every possible opportunity.
Yeah. She's
spreading rumours. She's stopping love. She's starting love. She's stirring pots.
She's the hand that rocks the cradle.
Yeah.
Because she's mental as well.
And she's an absolute grass. Like, she keeps going to people's parents, 100%. I promise I won't tell your dad about this. Next scene, I immediately told her dad.
Oh yeah, 100%. And the biggest spoiler, the biggest pivotal moment in this book was whenever Nellie knew Heathcliff was behind a door, and Catherine started professing how she could never be with him. And then she must have known that Heathcliff had walked off, and then she said "But hey, mention some redeemable things about him." I mean, Catherine goes in, for the purpose of the reader, Catherine goes into this here story about how she loves him, but how she could never really be with him because the two of them would have no money. Whereas if she marries Edgar Linton, then she can put herself into a position where she can actually begin to help Heathcliff and bring him up a wee bit.
But she loves the guy, right?
The
soulmates.
Soulmates. It's literally,
even though they're raised as
she died of a broken heart. Well, arguably a broken heart or some awful condition while she was pregnant. She died of a broken heart, thinking that Heathcliff had ran off and left her, and then came back, and Heathcliff was like, pardon my language, but to put it in a short term, fuck you. That's what it is pretty much. Like, he was like, damn you, I can't be doing it.
But it's kind of there's an intensity of feeling on both of their sides, right?
Intensity of feeling.
Yeah.
Intense enough that you could dig up her corpse.
I mean, it's midlife crisis behavior, right? that happens near the end. That's when he's digging up corpses. It's 20 years on, 18 years on, right? It's not just as soon as she's digs down to the coffin when she's just buried, but doesn't open it up.
No, he does.
No, but he does that later.
He does that.
Yeah. So the first time he's like, well, actually, I'm just going to leave it here. But later on, then he digs all the way down, pulls off the side, and then bribes someone to bury me here with my side open too, so our bones can mingle.
I read that as he sort of held her a wee bit.
Oh yeah.
But then also that he wanted to be buried between Catherine and her husband Linton,
just to get in the way, get between them.
So should maybe do a synopsis of the story.
I think so. I know that the Kate Bush song, right, does that pretty succinctly, right?
Again,
we can't sing that because that is in copyright.
I have a humiliating point about the song.
Oh, you think the song is wrong?
No. I knew it was Wuthering Heights, but it was named after the book. But I didn't realize it was It's Me and Cathy.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't know who that was about until.
Oh yes, it is. It is just it's the book, isn't it? Cathy, or everyone calls her Catherine except for Heathcliff. Heathcliff calls her Cathy. Everyone else calls her Catherine.
Yeah.
Cathy and her older brother, boring guy, live in Wuthering Heights, their little house on top of a hill in the Yorkshire Moors. Their dad often goes to Liverpool for business. One day he comes back with a small child that he decides to adopt. I think almost certainly that's got to be his love child. You know, that's
it's either his love child or
just some
as
kid he
most
found.
people would like maybe buy a dog in a pub. He's trafficked this little boy to the moors.
It's underhand.
Moors,
It's underhand. Whatever's happened.
Moors.
Well, that's an accent thing, isn't it? That's no, I'm not. We can't correct each other's accents. That's that's gonna get messy.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of trouble with that one. Indecipherable. Yeah, but then he comes back with him, and they're all pretty nasty people.
Mm-hmm. Well, they're bored. They're out in the sticks. There's not much to do. They're very isolated.
That's an odd thing about this book. But we'll get to the synopsis first because I'll just make a note about that for later. So yeah, bring the kid back. We'll finish the synopsis in a little bit. We'll go to these here adverts in a couple of seconds. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Sam Rhodes, one of the co-founders of LAFS, the London Arts Facilitation Society. If you're enjoying watching or listening to any of this content, we'd really like you to donate a little bit of cash to help us build access to all of this wonderful stuff for working class people from all over England. You can go to laughs.org.uk to donate as little as £1 a month to help us keep the lights on and help us make lovely art, podcasts, comedy specials, and even professional wrestling for you at home. Laughs.org.uk. Donate today. Go on, do it for the laughs.
Oh, fantastic adverts for laughs.org.uk.
Yep, or whatever else was put into that gap.
We're working in tandem with Laughs.
We are indeed. You'll know that already, right?
Yeah. Sorry to. Well, do you want to do it?
Well, I just said while we were on that break, it was a bit of a Heathcliff hanger, wasn't it? That we left you in there.
Perfect. Right. So Heathcliff comes back. Everybody gets raised a wee bit. Heathcliff and Catherine have like a big tryst. They sort of fall in love. Everybody knows it, but like they're not outwardly showing it because one is highborn, one is lowerborn, and it's a very class thing in England to break that.
I mean, it still is an issue, isn't it?
Still. So then they grow up a wee bit. Kathy says some shit to Nellie that Heathcliff hears, and then he runs off and joins the Navy and proves himself a wee bit, gets a bit of money behind him. In a very...
Oh, you missed out meeting all the other family over at the next... next house.
Go.
So the Lintons are the other fancy family in the neighbourhood, and they've got kids that are basically the same age as Kathy and Heathcliff, a boy and a girl.
Bit of a bigger house.
Bigger house, a bit more money. The dad's a magistrate, not as much of a... Well, he doesn't bring kids home from his business trips, like Kathy's papa do.
Yeah, he leaves them where they're meant to be.
And she ends up sort of hanging out with the lad from this fancier family. I think, as Martin mentioned earlier, she thinks, if I hook up with him, I can get some money, get some education for my boy Heathcliff.
Yeah, and further herself and bring him along for the ride.
Mm-hmm. But that doesn't happen. Heathcliff runs off.
Literally. But yeah, he runs off. Edgar and Catherine have a child.
Yep, they get married. She gets pregnant.
Yeah.
Heathcliff shows up, runs off with the daughter, with the sister of Edgar, Isabel.
Yeah.
Isabella,
yeah.
Yeah. They run off, get married. Heathcliff comes back. Kathy's about to give birth, gives birth to the baby, immediately dies. Flash forward
Kathy.
20 years. They've all the kids
Catherine
have grown up.
Dies, not the baby.
Not the baby,
yeah.
Who is also called Kathy.
Yes.
And everyone calls her Kathy except for Heathcliff,
calls
her Catherine. And the baby that Heathcliff and Isabella have, she runs off. You never see her again, and she raises the kid and calls him Linton, which is the surname of her and her brother.
Do you think she did that to spite Heathcliff?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. And this kid's a massive loser. Linton Heathcliff.
Drinks hot milk.
He's the worst character in the book.
In the audiobook, the person who's reading it does such a good job of like showing how much of a loser this kid is. And he's like, oh, it's always talking like, oh, why do I have to do it? Like, oh, Joseph, fetch me some milk and all this.
He's whingy. He's a little whinger, you know. And Heathcliff's he's a big, tough, interesting, multifaceted man with big feelings, and I loved Heathcliff. You know, by the end of that book, I was 100% Team Heathcliff. You know, I really warmed to Heathcliff by the end of that book.
Oh,
at one point he so when all the kids are older, he realizes that because of all of the only males can inherit property at this point, he gets his awful son, who he hates. Obviously, he's you know, he's not stupid. He kind of manipulates his son into marrying Cathy,
who are cousins.
They are cousins. Yep, yeah. But I mean, Heathcliff and original Cathy might have been half siblings.
It's been told to me and explained to me that was maybe quite common back in the 1800s.
The cousins thing.
Yeah.
Oh, and also it's out in the countryside, isn't it? You know, you work with what you've got.
Yeah, because like the royal family set the example and they were doing that sort of thing.
Yeah, you know, different times. You can't judge the past by the standards of today.
No, I get it. Like, but it's like, you know, like Queen Victoria wore white on her wedding day, so I'll wear white on her wedding day. You know, her brother married a cousin, so I can marry my cousin. Stuff like that.
Yeah, you look for permission from your betters, right? So Linton, the child Linton, marries his cousin, and then he dies pretty quickly because he's
a soft piece of shit. Yeah.
I mean, you sound like that's the kind of thing Heathcliff would say about the boy, I think.
Now, are you saying that because I'm lowborn? Or...
But Heathcliff's he's bettered himself, hasn't he? You know?
Much like me.
Yeah. And then everyone ends up living in Wuthering Heights, Heathcliff's house. As everyone keeps dying, it's just Heathcliff left with the wife of his son, and Hareton, who was the child of Cathy's older brother, who also died. Who Heathcliff also semi-raised.
Who is also Catherine's cousin.
Yep.
And what happens to them?
Well, that's the happy ending, though. The happy ending is that after even Heathcliff has died, they hook up and have a lovely time, make Wuthering Heights a home again. But Hareton is like Heathcliff. He's the real son of Heathcliff, even though he's not biologically.
It was like I'm not big into reading and stuff. Like, that's what this whole podcast is about. But it seemed like there was a massive parallel between Hareton Earnshaw and Catherine Linton, the juniors, into this is what it was meant to be like for Heathcliff and Cathy.
It could have been. It could have been.
You know, arguably cousins as well. Me, you know, like, just Emily, you know, it's a little bit too far gone now, but write some more characters. You know, just you don't have to. Mr. Lockwood might have had a son. You could have brought him up.
Well, Lockwood, Cathy's, she's a good-looking lady, right? And Lockwood keeps mentioning that. When he's first there, he's like, maybe I will try and seduce this young woman and take her back to London with me.
The one who sets a dog on him as soon as he gets into the house. Yeah. That's fantastic, by the way. Love it. No notes.
Oh, there's a great bit. There's a bit near the beginning where Lockwood says to someone, "Oh, I love this pile of cats that you have," and they say, "Those aren't cats. Those are dead rabbits." But that's a joke, right? There's jokes in it.
They're sitting at Joseph's feet. But it was funny because whenever he got brought into the house first, because like Lockwood is renting the house from Heathcliff, so he goes into the house first. I like this. This bit was actually funny. Gets brought into the room. He's like, "Right, sit here. I'll be back in a minute." And he's like, "Oh, it's a fine looking dog you have, sir." And Heathcliff expressly says, "Don't touch the dog. Don't look at the dog. Don't go near the dog." Lockwood immediately goes over like going, 6 on him straight away. Heathcliff comes back in. There's like 6 dogs sat upon this guy, and he's just like, "What were you doing?" And he's just like, "I wasn't fucking with the dog, I swear." They just leapt out of nowhere. I was like, "Man, I'm sure." But
that's what I mean. Like the book's funny. Lockwood's an idiot. You know, you're not on Lockwood's side at all.
Yeah,
but you're not. I didn't feel like I was really on Nellie Dean's side either, right? Who's the main storyteller,
the master manipulator.
Yeah, she's just a big grass. It was all the constant going over everyone's heads.
Nobody
getting in the way of stuff. Making
Nobody
up
likes
her
a
own
tout.
rules, inconsistency with her own opinions.
Yeah. I'll say this. So like a couple of the notes that I made about the book was like, I may have said this earlier. This was written in 1842. It was very clear that the man.
You've said a different year every time.
No, it was written in 1852.
Okay.
But a little known fact that the thesaurus was being written from the early 1800s and was published. Oh, the thesaurus was published in 1852. No, wait. The thesaurus was published in 1852. This was published in 1847, right? So I'm pretty sure Emily Bronte got an advance copy of the thesaurus, and she used every word but just the simple one to describe everything. That whole like putting his hand in his pocket with a jealous resolution made me put the book down about 4 or 5 times. I'm like, it's much like the story I told you about Breaking Bad, where I stopped watching it in episode 3 just before a bathtub crashed through the floor above. That's what happened with this book. I was immediately going like, this is I don't know how I'm going to finish this. And I had to do it by using an audiobook. Because it could just play in the background, or I could do it whilst reading, so I could focus on it a wee bit better and hear how people were, how the feeling people were actually putting into whenever they were saying things in the book. Because it just was a massive pile of complicated $10 words when a $1 word would have done. Do you know what I mean?
And you found the audiobook made that easier?
Way easier, because it put everything into a context and a feeling as soon as I heard somebody else reading it. Like that was we'll maybe do like an episode like much later on where we can actually like say like the best way to digest books or something like that. But
stay tuned for that.
Stay tuned. It was very clear that like a thesaurus had just been invented. And also that like in 1847 when this was written and published under a pseudonym. Because Emily Bronte didn't release this herself.
Alice Bell, right?
Alice Bell. And what I found hilarious was that there was 3 Bronte sisters. There was Catherine, Emily, and another one who I forget. Anne. That's But
Charlotte, not Catherine. Catherine was
did I say? I thought I said Charlotte.
Oh, I don't know.
Anyway,
I'm so
this
sorry.
is a mess. But also, so they released the book, but they didn't change their initials. It was Alice Bell, Emily Bronte, Carol Bronte, or something like that there, and like Aidan Bronte. But life must have been incredibly dull and boring, because she has decided to decorate this book with every fancy word that she could find. And like, I have to imagine people were like, people were reading this by candlelight. If I was reading it by candlelight, I would set it on fire. Very much so on purpose. Like, I don't know. It is a good book. It's a great story. It's a wonderful title that pretty much like sums up a lot of abuse in relationships.
But there's lots of different types of unhappy relationships. Like within it, that all of the relationships kind of fail in slightly different ways. There's always subtle power imbalances that are internal and external, and I think that it really I mean, I worry you can sound a bit uncomplex for agreeing with the idea that masterpieces are masterpieces, if that makes sense. I don't want to sound like, cause I know it's not original to say that Wuthering Heights is a masterpiece, but I think that the way that Emily Bronte uses language to convey the prejudices and the opinions and the social, strata of the different people she's using, I think is really interesting. Exactly.
So that bit was done really well. But I think this was only a classic because it was one of the only books written in 1847. Like, it came top of the pops when nobody else was releasing music. So like, out of 10, what would you give it?
I mean, it's hard to say. What would Heathcliff give it? Because I'd want to give the same as Heathcliff.
Heathcliff, much like me, would want to bury it in the ground beside
himself.
Yeah, I'll not be too fussed if I don't read this again, but I might watch the movie.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there's about 10 movies. There's movies, there's songs, but that's what's interesting about it, right? It's a book that has echoed for 150 years. People are still making movie adaptations of it now, you know, and that there's got to be something to it, right? For that to, you can interpret it in a lot of different ways. It is all interpretation. It's all gossip. It's all hearsay within the novel.
Do you know the best thing about and I think maybe we're finishing this here because we're sort of running to the end.
Mm-hmm.
I think the best part about the latest movie adaptation of this here with Margot Robbie is that it is nothing like the book. And that's the best part of it. Right.
Thank you so much for joining us here at the Big Bold Book Club. We'll be back again very, 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 very soon.
Yeah. Almost in a few minutes.
It's the Big Bold Book Club. We're gonna read some books. Listen to the Big Bold Book Club. If you wanna see more, smarter about books and that.